Then we get what I would consider one of the most important backgrounds in the film. This background's color palette shifts as time goes on. At the beginning of the shot, the colors start off as a mixture of pinks and baby blues, but as Gwen goes on explaining, the colors become more vibrant and saturated, and end up as a mixture of magenta, purple, and orange. So why is this background so important? Well, it's when Gwen finally tells her dad about her struggles, about how she's unable to help those she loves most. Because they can only know half of who she is, that means she's completely on her own. She doesn't know where to go or what to do, and she doesn't want to lose anyone else. I think there are two interpretations you can draw from this background. The first has to do with Gwen's perspective. She starts off unsure, but ends up with a sort of positive affirmation through a negative statement. I can't lose one more friend. That tension, with a clever bit of writing, is exactly what is being mirrored in the background that we see. I would say that this is the moment that she comes into her own and fully embraces her identity as Spider-Gwen. The second potential meaning is from her dad's perspective. It simply signifies how he sees his daughter growing up right before his eyes. He can see that his daughter is making her way and figuring things out for herself, even if it's not the path that he would have chosen. The background growing in vibrancy and saturation could be a depiction of Gwen coming into her own as his daughter, not necessarily Spider-Gwen.